Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Chris Flaherty, and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, Jolie Atwood with the community calendar, Peter Brown with the weather, and Liz Gillespie with sports. Thank you for joining us. The town of Burlington will start the spring growing season off with the even-odd outdoor watering policy it has adopted the last few years. Although the town joined the MWRA in December 2020, the current connection to the town of Lexington's water system is not large enough to allow for the elimination of all outdoor watering restrictions in the near future. In addition to Burlington's water supply limitations, the Commonwealth is updating the mandated outdoor watering restrictions when a drought is declared. DPW Director John Sanchez said the town must maintain its level of use as low as possible until the full connection to the MWRA is made. The Board of Selectmen unanimously approved automated or sprinkler watering every other day based on the address of the residential or commercial property. Residents in commercial properties can choose to water either between midnight and 9 a.m. or between 5 p.m. and midnight on their odd even day. No double watering allowed on any given day. Selectman Nick Priest mentioned the possibility of adjusting the fines for those in violation of the water restrictions. The steps approved by the Board of Selectmen are in sync with the proposed Water Management Act restrictions, which all water systems must abide by during drought conditions. The town plans to purchase 150 million gallons of water from the MWRA in FY22, beginning July 1st, and produce 850 million gallons of water from the Vine Brook and Mill Pond treatment plants. Burlington Police Department Deputy Chief Thomas Brown was officially appointed to the department as the next Chief of Police at Monday's Board of Selectmen meeting. The appointment was made by Town Administrator Paul Sagarino, who said Brown will replace retiring Police Chief Mike Kent at the end of the current fiscal year on July 1. Chief Brown graduated from Burlington High School in 1990 and received a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and a minor in psychology from UMass Lowell. He also holds a law degree. He started his police career in New Hampshire, where he rose to the rank of sergeant prior to being appointed to the Burlington Department in 2001. Town Administrator Sagarino outlined some of Brown's accomplishments within the department. He said he brought the department into compliance for its first certification award from the Mass Police Accreditation Commission. He also designed the department's current field training program and designed and started its police drug unit. He was also responsible for moving the town away from the civil service hiring system, something Sagarino said is responsible for the recent high quality of new hires. Chief Brown is also a certified instructor for the Massachusetts Police Training Committee and teaches criminal law and criminal procedure in Haverhill, Lowell, and Reading Police Academies. After the appointment, Brown thanked Sagarino and the board for their faith in him. He also had a message to his fellow officers. Let's take a look.
To the members of the Burlington Police Department, both sworn and civilian, I'm proud to be the next Chief of Police and to work with all of you to continue to strive towards making this department the absolute best municipal police force in Massachusetts. Because of Chief Kent and all of you, I believe that we have already achieved that designation. And this would not be possible if it wasn't for the great people and professional work that each of you does every single day. So I look forward to the next chapter, and I know that someday when it's my turn to move on, the department will be left in even better hands.
Chief Kent said he was happy to have the deputy chief named as his replacement. Here he is on that subject.
I couldn't be more pleased with this appointment. Deputy Chief Brown has earned it. He's one of the hardest workers I've seen in my years in policing. He's also one of the smartest officers and deputy chiefs and lieutenants and sergeants I've ever dealt with. I believe he's the man to bring this department to the next level. I'm positive of it. And I also think we're going to have some big changes ahead in law enforcement. And Tom's the man to do those changes.
Members of the board said they were also pleased with the appointment and voted unanimously to waive the standard 15-day waiting period for new hires and promotions. Burlington Town Administrator Paul Sagarino is set to stick around for at least a few more years. On Monday, the Board of Selectmen voted unanimously to extend his contract with the town for another 3 years. This is in addition to the 2 years with his current contract. Members of the board said extending the contract was an easy decision and noted Sagarino's work overall, but with a particular focus over how he handled this situation with the pandemic. Board Chairman Joe Morandi said that when they began the process of discussing the contract, Zagarino said he would not take a pay raise this year due to the tough financial situation the town is facing due to the pandemic. He said something will be worked out later when the town finances are more secure. Selectman Priest said this decision was a demonstration of leadership. Here he is.
Foregoing, a pay raise in what is otherwise a fiscally difficult year, is leadership in action. If that in and of itself doesn't show you how, Paul functions as a leader and a town administrator, I don't know what does.
Finally, for his part, Paul said he loves working in Burlington and thanked the board for supporting him. Here are his comments.
I would like to say thank you very much to the board for your unwavering support. As I've said before, I know that I have a lot to learn still, and I know that I'm going to strive to get better every single year that goes by. Just as a secondary note, I could not do what I'm able to do for you folks without all the great assistance I have here at the town, the office staff, our department heads, our employees. We definitely could not do what we do around here without having great employees through and through.
BCAT also offers its congratulations to Paul. Since his taking over the position, he's been the most accessible leader in the town on any subject matter. The candidates in the races for Board of Selectmen and Shawshene Tech School Committee joined BCAT for debates ahead of the upcoming election, moderated by Town Moderator Bill Byer and featuring members of the local press. Let's go to BNews Director Rich Hosford in our Election Center for the latest.
Hello, and welcome to our BNews Election Center for the 2021 Burlington Town Election. This week we held debates with the 3 candidates for the 2 open seats on the Board of Selectmen and the 2 candidates for the 1 open seat on the Shawshene Tech School Committee. We also held a one-on-one forum with Town Clerk Amy Warfield after her opponent for the position failed to respond to our invitation to debate. One exchange in the Selectmen debate has become the focus of much attention on social media. It came in response to a question from Wicked Local's Melissa Russell, who said that Burlington has become more diverse over the years and asked whether the fact that the look of the board does not reflect that is a problem. Here is incumbent Selectman Joe Morandi's response.
So let me, a quick question back, diversity, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that there's a fireman on there, there's an ex-policeman, there's a barber that's on there, Nick is into communications, Bob's a veteran, retired veteran administration officer. I think the board is very diversified. I think we look at every aspect there possibly is. So I don't know exactly where you're going with that question.
Incumbent candidate Mike Runyon also took issue with the question, suggesting it was possibly designed to assist challenger Sherry Ellis.
I think your question, Melissa, was focused on the composition of the current board, and I think what you're alluding to, as you did in our interview for your newspaper, you referenced 5 white men. The guidelines here in Burlington for running for office are simple. You must be 18 years old and you must be a Burlington resident. And I would agree with Joe. I'm a fireman, I put out fires, Joe cuts air, and Jimmy the cop, and so on and so forth. Those are the requirements for seeking office in Burlington. And I think we've got a pretty diverse board there, and anybody is encouraged to run for that office. I think let me follow up with though, I kind of think that's an unfair question, sort of teeing it up for Mrs. Ellis, Melissa.
The reaction to the 2 incumbents' answers from people online was swift. Posting on a Burlington Resident Network Facebook page, one person called the response cringeworthy and said that they were appalled. Another called the answers disappointing, while yet another pointed out that there have been no women or persons of color on the board in over a decade. Other questions during the debate touched on supporting local businesses, liquor licenses, small cell facilities, possible budget cuts, and who the candidates feel the town needs to better serve. In the debate for Shawshene Tech School Committee, topics included lessons learned from teaching during a pandemic, the school's financial situation, diversity, what is working at the school and what isn't, and what the candidates thought should be prioritized after the pandemic is under control. You can watch both the debates and my discussion with Amy Warfield on our website at bcattv.org by clicking on the BNEWS Election Center under the BNews tab. And don't forget, early voting starts on Monday, April 5th at Grandview Farm, and the town election will be held on Saturday, April 10th, and the polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the Burlington High School gymnasiums. That's all for this Election Center update. We'll see you next time.
It'd be fair to point out that there has not been a minority or a female candidate who has run for the Board of Selectmen in the past decade. The rules for Burlington cemeteries have been changed with the goal of providing greater clarity and to give families more flexibility in regards to what can be placed on grave sites. The proposed changes were first discussed during the March 2nd Board of Selectmen meeting, but selectmen at that time wished to have more time to review them for a vote, so they continued until this week. During the March 2nd meeting, DPW Director John Sanchez recommended the policy changes that he said were recently unanimously voted in favor of by the Town Cemetery Oversight Committee. These revisions intend to clarify the type of graveside plantings that may be allowed, as well as clarifying the removal schedule of holiday decorations. He explained at the time, adding that the goal is to keep the cemeteries looking good, and flowers, paintings, and decorations don't look good forever, as we all know. Changes to the policy include allowing for small holiday decorations 2 weeks prior to a holiday that will be removed 2 weeks after the holiday has passed, detailing where flowers and other plants can be placed, and adding to the list of objects that cannot be placed due to hazards to landscaping crews. Board members said they too wanted to ensure that the cemeteries are kept in pristine condition, but also that grieving families are not faced with overly strict regulations. Burlington has become well known for its theatrical productions, but live theater is difficult to both perform and view in a time of COVID. A group of Burlington High students have produced the school's first ever virtual play, performing The Apple Tree by John Galsworthy, premiering on BCAT's YouTube and education channels Friday this evening. BNews entertainment reporter Chris Flaherty spoke to director and stage manager BHS senior Madeline Goltz on the production's conception and preparation.
During a time when live theater has been almost absent from our culture, a group of Burlington High students are bringing the stage to audiences virtually. Friday, March 26th marks the premiere of The Apple Tree, BHS's first ever virtual play. Senior Madeline Goltz, director and stage manager, spoke on how the idea for the production sprung from a desire of hers and other students to have theater in these unconventional times.
And we had been talking about other forms of theater that have been happening this year, virtual plays, outdoor plays. And we thought, okay, is there anything that we can do? But it was like a whole group conversation trying to figure out how can we do this safely, because so many people wanted to have theater and it just felt unacceptable that we weren't going to have access to it.
Production on the play, which became Gould's senior project, ran from January through March, with auditions and rehearsals fully remote. Props were exchanged between cast and crew with social distance in mind. Gould explained the challenges from both the technical and theatrical side of this new medium, and the support she received from teachers and classmates.
There were a few instances where we had to work around technical difficulties. We had to figure out how we were even going to get this recorded for people. If we were going to do a live viewing of it on a Google Meet, we had to think of a lot of alternatives in case plan A failed or plan B failed, because everything was very touch and go. You had to plan for everything because you weren't going to be certain it was going to work. Initially, it wasn't going to be student run. It was going to be just a class thing, because I took drama first semester, and the more work that I had put into it, the more Mr. Hill acknowledged how hard I was working, and he let me student direct it because I've had experience directing. And I would have thought that I would have just been handed the reins and not have any help, but he was there every step of the way helping me. I also had a lot of support from the cast members too. It was a cast of my peers, a cast of students, and I had two friends that were very, very helpful to me, that read through the script with me, helped me pick out certain things, because we essentially added extra scenes or rewrote certain parts because the show was written in 1917. So we wanted to like rewrite it so it could be a little bit easier to understand. So having the support of my peers as well as Mr. Hill and Mr. Middleton as well, just having everybody's support has been incredible.
Goulds hopes the Apple Tree offers the community a theatrical experience amidst the pandemic and kickstarts a new trend for student productions.
This show is not just a one act play. It's not just like a virtual thing for my senior project. It's supposed to represent like having accessible theater in a time that you weren't expecting to have theater at all. If this gives like the community and other students the chance to watch theater or be a part of it and have like that opportunity going forward to create something similar to this, I want to make sure that like this isn't just to get a show out there, it's to like start something new. It's one of the first. It's like a first for Burlington. Student run, completely virtual, and it's in a time that no one thought theater was possible.
The Apple Tree will premiere Friday, March 26th at 7 p.m. on BCAT's YouTube and Education channel. Check your local listings for encore presentations. Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
Another example of innovative Burlington High School students. Burlington Police Department has been recognized for using aerial technology to help keep residents safe. Police Chief Michael Kent said in a release he is pleased to announce that the department has received national honors as an outstanding public safety drone program. The department was one of 3 recognized in February by Drone Responders, a nonprofit that promotes innovation and improved operational effectiveness in public safety drone use. Chief Kent said he is very proud of the drone team for receiving national recognition in just its 2nd year, and that it is a testament to the dedication and professionalism shown by Sergeant Peter Abasharoon, Officer Sage Costa, and Officer Daniel Main. Kent said the department has used drones to enhance police work and increase safety for first responders and the Burlington community. They have used them in search and rescue missions, tactical missions, evidence recovery and fires, and to document automobile accidents and impaired driving stops. During one SWAT mission, an operator flew a drone to view inside the 2nd floor of a house, allowing officers to see the occupant barricaded inside. Officer Costa said that by operating a drone over an incident or mission, they're able to keep officers and the community safer. As a monthly award winner, the Burlington Police Department drone team will be considered to become one of 5 finalists for the annual Drone Responders National Excellence Awards, which will be presented at the OBSI Exponential Conference later this year. A business eyeing a Burlington location wants to allow people to play a round of golf, no matter what time of year or what the weather is like, while enjoying a drink and some food. An entity called Waterville Business Development, LLC, has filed paperwork with the Burlington Planning Department for a special permit for a business called X Golf Burlington to be located in part of the former Chuck E. Cheese location at 10 Wall Street. X Golf Burlington will feature a new indoor golf simulator facility and an accompanying restaurant. According to the plans, X Golf will place golf simulators along the perimeter of the tenant space with individual seating areas at each golf station, group seating, and food service. There will also be additional restaurant seating. The application is scheduled to be before the Planning Board on Thursday, April 1st. Burlington Parks and Recreation is gearing up to offer fun and safe activities this spring. BNews reporter Robert Paris went to talk with Brendan Egan about what they have planned. He also went to visit some Burlington kids with none other than the Easter Bunny. Let's have a look.
Spring has sprung, and the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department hasn't missed a beat when it came to programs for the community. This week, I had another COVID-19 update with Parks and Recreation Director Brendan Egan. Get yourselves outside, because the spring brochure has been released.
This time we tried something a little different. We're moving in a different direction now. Our brochure will be just put online. With the amount of changes that take place in our current environment with the pandemic, having a printed brochure just isn't going to work. We need to be flexible and be able to make changes at a minute's notice. So that went live on March 5th.
As restrictions begin to ease, the department is looking forward to in-person activities.
This spring will be an opportunity to return to some in-person. You know, a lot of our fitness programs, They'll be able to participate in person here at the Parks and Recreation Department. And then we do have a number of offerings outdoors.
We are nearing the end of the tunnel, but we all need to continue to be vigilant.
Seeing people enjoying their leisure time, utilizing our facilities, our parks, our playgrounds. And then I really look forward to having people back into our building on a regular basis.
The Easter Bunny also made an appearance.
The Easter Bunny is in town. Bunny is going to visit residents who pre-registered to get a visit from the Easter Bunny, and we'll drop them a little something. It will be a socially distant event.
From the Parks and Recreation Department, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
In our latest Eye on Nature segment, Master Gardener Peter Coppola returns for another season of expert tips and tricks to make your garden grow. Before breaking ground, learn proper preparation for seeds and what you can do to start your garden before the soil is ready. Let's check it out.
Early March, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. No, not going to do those from seed. Oh, late March, cucumbers. I can start the cucumbers inside. You may have already purchased some of your seeds, gone through the catalogs. It is March after all, but still too early to get out there and do some gardening. So let's spend a little time in the house talking about what you maybe already did, maybe want to do, and what you can do in preparation for going outside and planting and starting from seed. You probably got a ton of catalogs, or maybe you went online to look. There are only a few growers for everything you purchase. So even though you may see in a dozen catalogs winter squash, Waltham butternut like this, that doesn't mean they all grow it themselves. They purchase essentially from the same wholesaler who has hundreds and thousands of acres of seed stock and then ships the seed to the catalog houses at the end of the year. So you don't have to worry. If it says Waltham butternut, it doesn't matter where you purchase it from. It doesn't matter from the seed catalog. It doesn't matter from the seed rack locally. It doesn't matter from the grocery store. It's the same seed and the same end product. So don't worry about who you're purchasing from or whether or not you're going to get exactly the right Waltham butternut squash. It's there. If you are going to buy seed and you think you might want to save the seed like I do with the butternut squash, those seeds will guarantee you that you are going to get exactly the same product the following year as the one you grew this year. Number two, before you purchase anything, measure your yard. Know how much space you have. Example, if you think you're going to plant tomatoes, tomato plants require 2 feet of spacing. That means in a grid, each tomato plant gets 4 square feet. Don't overplant and don't overpurchase. Number three, select what you like. Don't go out and buy something that you've never tried before and say, let's grow this and we'll see if we like it. Because the chances are you will spend more time in the garden growing them and enjoying the time than you would if you grew something you weren't really interested in trying. Stick with what you know and what you like, and then as you get better in your garden and more proficient at gardening, then you can start experimenting a little bit more. Oh, my big favorite, multiple varieties. I like tomatoes, but I like fresh tomatoes. I like sun-dried tomatoes. I like golden tomatoes. I like cherry tomatoes. I like red tomatoes. I can't grow just one type of tomato. If you're going to grow tomatoes, you should have at least 3. There's always a cherry type tomato for your salads and just to pop them off the vine and pop them in your mouth. You want a slicing tomato, and you want some kind of dry tomato like a plum tomato. When the seeds come in, make sure everything you've watered and everything you want is in. The other thing you may want to do is save last year's seeds. Pull those out. If you kept them in a cool spot in the basement, they're still viable. There's a lot in here. There are very few seeds that are not viable after a couple of years. So don't be afraid of using old seed before you go out and buy more seed. When you finally get the seed in, let's take a close look. This is butterfly weed, and we're growing this to plant up at the community garden to hopefully track or give a habitat for monarch butterflies to have a place to rest during their migration. It says right on the package that it should go through a period of chilling before you try to start the seeds. And a number of seed stock, flowers and vegetables that you purchase need to go through that exercise. So make sure you read the package before you do anything. Don't just take it, throw it into a container and be on your way. Always read the packaging. When you know it's time to plant outside is just by using this. That smell of spring are the microbes in the soil coming alive and starting to respire. They're eating the organic material in the soil, they're running around, they're exercising, and they're sweating. And that smell you get, that we call the smell of spring, is those microbes sweating. And they don't start doing that until the soil temperature is at 50 degrees. So that's your signal that you can go out and start sowing in the ground, as long as the soil is dry enough. Summarize. Don't go crazy. Don't start too early. Visit your local nurseries and supermarkets and box retailers and check their seed stock. You don't have to buy them online. And then once you get them, relax. You still have a month before you have to go crazy.
I like to cook my kale in oil so that it will slide easily into the trash. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. The modified fall sports season continues, and the Red Devils are battling hard. For the latest action, we go to BNEWS sports reporter Liz Gillespie for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, I'm Liz Gillespie, and this is your weekly sports report. Burlington High School Fall Session 2 sports are in full swing, and a number of teams had games this past Saturday. Girls track faced off against the Wilmington Wildcats on Saturday, March 20th at the Burlington High School varsity field. The girls lost to the Wildcats 54-47. The team starts the season at 0-1. Boys track also had a meet against the Wilmington Wildcats on Saturday, March 20th at BHS. Senior Sean Thur led the Devils in the 3 individual events. He had his personal best in the long jump at 21 feet and 3.5 inches. He won the 300-meter race in 37.6 seconds and finished the high jump at 5 feet and 10 inches. Congrats to Sean on a great season opener. Boys track finished the meet with a 64-36 win over the Wildcats. The team starts the season off at 1-0. Both girls and boys track teams will head to Stoneham to take on the Spartans on Saturday, March 27th. Girls swimming had 2 separate meets, one against the Wakefield Warriors and a makeup one against the Stoneham Spartans on Saturday, March 20th. Burlington couldn't get the job done against either team in the end. The Red Devils dropped to 0-2 in the season and will face the Melrose Red Raiders on Saturday, March 27th at the North Suburban YMCA in Woburn. Girls varsity volleyball took on the Stoneham Spartans on Saturday, March 20th at SHS. The Red Devils won all 3 sets during the match. The first set they won 25-15, second 25-11, and the third set was 25-8. Final set score was 3-0 Red Devils. Varsity is currently 3-0 on the season. The team will face Stoneham again on Saturday, March 27th at BHS. This game will be live streamed on the BCAT TV Facebook page at 10:30 a.m. Red Devil football hosted the Wilmington Wildcats on Saturday, March 20th at Varsity Field, and we have some highlights.
Red Devil varsity football returned on a beautiful Saturday morning at Varsity Field on March 20th. The game itself was a very defensive battle throughout. Here are some of the defensive highlights from both opponents. Near the end of the fourth quarter, Wilmington broke the goose egg with a field goal. The Red Devils did have their chance on 4th and goal, but were not successful. Final score, 3-0, Wildcats. We talked to head coach Dan McKay after the game.
Yeah, we had a tough time getting a rhythm going, a little inconsistent on offense. We had our chances, just didn't execute when we needed to. But we played hard. I mean, the kids played hard the entire game, and, you know, we'll learn from it and we'll get better because of it.
Burlington starts the season off 0-1 and will take on the Stoneham Spartans on Saturday, March 27th at 6 p.m. This game will be played at the Woburn Memorial High School field. For more Red Devil action, go to bcattv.org under the BNEWS Sports section, and don't forget to check out our BNEWS Sports Twitter page. And that's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Liz Gillespie. Back to you guys in the studio.
We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown for a look at this week's forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Jolie Atwood to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 to 10 days. I know here we are, you are seeing this correctly on our almanac. The end of our period is, if you can believe it, April 1st. We have made it to April and we are well into spring now. Now, starting out our period on Friday, we're going to see temperatures actually well above average for this time of the year, temperatures in the mid-60s. This, however, is going to come with a chance of maybe a little bit of spotty rain showers out there, so we're not going to be seeing as much in way of sunshine, but still not too bad if you have to be out and about in the Burlington area. And we're going to notice during our period coming up, it's not going to be quite as pleasant as it's been the past couple of days here in the Burlington area. We're going to be a little bit cooler, still a little bit above average for this time of the year, but it doesn't look like we're going to be having many of those 60s and 70s like we've seen over the past couple of weeks or so. So we're going to be a little bit back towards average and maybe introducing the chance of maybe some more spotty showers here and there. So definitely a sign of early spring. And of course, look at this. Our sunsets are now after 7 p.m. So that is great news. And as we move ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 to 10 days here in the Burlington area. And again, looking at our temperature chances, looks like our area is expecting again to be at or slightly above average for temperatures. That's definitely reflected in Friday's temperatures, and we may be up in the upper 50s maybe a couple of days as we head towards the end of the period. We'll have to keep an eye out that, but unfortunately for those of us who really love the warm weather, it doesn't look like we're going to have anything crazy out there. Definitely nothing going into the 70s or 80s, so we have a little ways to wait for that, but that weather is coming. Now, as we move ahead, let's take a look at what we're looking for in terms of precipitation for the Burlington area. And again, looks like we're expecting a little bit above average precipitation. That's going to be denoted when you see our 7-day forecast coming up, where we have a chance of some showers just about almost every other day. Nothing really steady, but again, something to keep in your mind that you might need the light rain jacket out there. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at that 7 days of weather coming up again, starting our period on Friday. I don't think we're going to have too much, unfortunately, in the way of sunshine. Looks like it's going to be kind of damp out there, but again, highs up in the lower to mid 60s, so very pleasant. Now we're going to cool it down as we head into the weekend, temperatures falling well back down into the 50s and back into those cooler nights again, but again, back to average. Now as we start out the work week, again we see we're going to have a little bit of disturbed weather maybe here late Sunday and early Monday. Looks like the chance of maybe some light rain showers again, nothing steady and no snow, which is great news. Our temperatures again, as you can see for the rest of the 7 days, really in the anywhere from the low to the upper 50s, so a little bit above average, not too bad out there, and again the chance of some showers each and maybe every other day or so. So we do need those showers out there to get our flowers ready for us to come up later this spring. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hi, I'm Jolie Atwood, and this is your community calendar. Test your knowledge of history, geography, sports, and more. On Thursday, April 1st from 7 to 9 p.m., Lexington History will be having an event called Take a Shot Trivia Contest. Everyone is welcome and pre-registration is required. Go to lexingtonhistory.org/events/html for more. Spring is here. On Saturday, April 3rd from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., the Franklin Park and Stone Zoo is having an event called Spring Fling. Event is included with general admission, advance ticket purchase required. Event will take place rain or shine, and for more information, go to zoonewengland.org/engage/springfling. Give back to Francis Wyman, have some fun, and help build the virtual raffle table. Until April 30th, the Francis Wyman PTO will be having a virtual raffle. Send your donation to Francis Wyman or email raffles@franciswymanpto.org for other drop-off pickup arrangements. For more information, go to Francis Wyman PTO Facebook page. I'm Jolie Atwood, and that was your community calendar.
Another week, another photo highlight. This week's photo takes us back outside and into nature. It was sent in by noted birder and bird watcher Phyllis Neufeld, who's really submitted some wonderful nature pictures in the past, and features a brightly colored male northern cardinal spotted at Horn Pond. Fun fact, the male cardinal fiercely defends its breeding territory from other males, and when one sees its reflection in glass surfaces, it frequently will spend hours fighting the imaginary intruder. Pretty, but not super bright. Thank you for the photo, Phyllis. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your spring activities, a family trip, or just everyday moments, whatever you think is interesting and want to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Chris Flaherty, Peter Brown, Jolie Atwood, and Liz Gillespie. Thank you for joining us.